Welcome back to FutureCast, where we dismantle tomorrow's coolest ideas, examine what makes them tick, and arm you with the insights to build the next big thing.
And I'm Sarah Liu, culture strategist and narrative alchemist, here to translate those raw numbers into the human stories that spark genuine connection. Today's epic deep dive is all about the anatomy of virality, how ventures scale from 0 to 1 million users, dollars, or diehard fans, sometimes in the blink of an eye. We're unpacking the secret sauce of growth loops, the psychology of sharing, guerrilla tactics that kickstart the engine, and the economic guardrails to keep those meteoric rises from flaming out.
Picture a rocket launch sequence. Countdown, ignition, liftoff, then a smooth trajectory toward orbit. Startup virality follows a similar choreography, but instead of fuel and thrusters, you engineer growth through feedback loops that amplify every spark of interest. Today, we'll map out that choreography step by step, leaning on legendary case studies, from Dropbox's simple yet ingenious referral gambit to TikTok's algorithmic wildfire, and mind-bending stories in between.
We'll riff on 5 pillars of virality: loop mechanics, narrative hooks, early traction gambits, retention talismans, and rock-solid unit economics. For each pillar, we'll share real-world examples, tactical takeaways, and cautionary anecdotes from startups that soared and those that nosedived.
Ready to ignite? Let's jump into Pillar 1, engineering the growth loop.
A growth loop is a self-sustaining cycle where existing user actions trigger new user acquisition. Unlike a one-off blitz, like a flashy ad campaign or a viral tweet, a loop perpetuates itself. Every referral, share, or content creation moment feeds back into the system, spawning fresh participants. The loop's potency rests on 2 core metrics: the virality coefficient, K-factor, and the cycle time.
The virality coefficient measures the average number of new users each existing user brings on board. If that coefficient registers above 1.0, your audience snowballs exponentially. The cycle time gauges how swiftly those referrals materialize: days, hours, or even minutes. Compress that timeline and you turbocharge growth velocity.
Let's break it down numerically. Imagine K equals 1.2, meaning each user converts 1.2 new users, and cycle time is 7 days. After 1 week, your base multiplies by 1.2. After 2 weeks, by 1.44. 3 weeks, by 1.728. Now imagine compressing cycle time to 24 hours. Suddenly, that same multiplier compounds daily, turning hundreds into tens of thousands within a month.
Of course, real-world yields wobble around theoretical models. Human attention is fickle, incentives vary in strength, and external factors jostle your ideal loop. That's why continuous measurement and optimization are non-negotiable.
Which brings us to the most famous textbook example, Dropbox's referral program. When your core product is cloud storage, an intangible utility, how do you inspire ecstatic word of mouth? Dropbox answered with a tangible reward: extra gigabytes of free space for both the inviter and the invitee.
Picture this. You sign up, and on day 1, you see an inviting prompt. Get 500 MB of bonus space when a friend joins. You click send. Within minutes, your friends receive a slick invite email branded with Dropbox's sleek design. They sign up, you get space, they get space, and everyone's ecstatic. That extra space is an immediate, measurable benefit, making the loop frictionless and emotionally gratifying.
What Dropbox nailed was explicit reciprocity and aligned incentives. Both parties gain equally, fostering trust and eagerness to participate. The loop didn't rely on abstract goodwill. It hinged on a clear, mutual value exchange.
The result? Dropbox rocketed from 0 to 100 million users in roughly 5 years, with referrals accounting for most of that growth. And because the product tapped into a universal need, accessible file synchronization, that loop converted seamlessly across demographics and geographies.
Next up, let's talk about TikTok's breakout creator loop. Here, the currency is bite-sized videos, multi-second snippets of dance moves, comedic skits, or heartfelt micro-stories. When a user posts content, TikTok's recommendation algorithm takes over, surfacing it to a targeted audience primed to engage. Likes, comments, and shares roll in within moments, rewarding creators with social validation.
That instant feedback spawns competitive energy. Can my next clip get more views? Each creator's enthusiasm translates into more uploads, which triggers more algorithmic boosts, which lures in more watchers, some of whom become creators themselves. It's a loop welded from user-generated content, AI-driven curation, and the primal allure of viral fame.
And TikTok supercharged loop velocity by embedding editing tools in-app. Users never leave the environment to craft content. That seamless experience collapses friction to near zero, turning idle browsing into spontaneous creation.
With loop mechanics covered, let's move to Pillar 2, crafting the narrative hook. Before users ever click share or invite a friend, they need a storyline they want to join. Humans are storytelling creatures. We bond over shared missions and myth-making.
Your narrative might center on disruption. Email is broken, but Slack is your communication utopia. Or democratization. Finance should be free for all, so Robinhood is built by the people for the people. When your story resonates emotionally, sharing becomes a badge of identity and loyalty.
Consider the language you use. Slack's early pitch, be less busy. Simple, evocative, problem solution in 3 words. Robinhood's tagline, investing for everyone. One line that undercuts centuries of financial gatekeeping. When messaging is crisp, it empowers users to become brand ambassadors rather than passive consumers.
Anchor your story in concrete rituals. Peloton cycling classes feel like a community ritual with live leaderboards and instructor shoutouts. Duolingo wraps language learning in gamified ceremonies, earning awards, streak celebrations, even tongue-in-cheek Professor Al notifications. Those rituals embed narrative arcs that encourage users to share progress snapshots on social media.
Pillar 3, jump-starting early traction. Growth loops and narratives flourish at scale, but you often need guerrilla sparks to prime the pump. We categorize these into 4 tactics: community seeding, influencer alliances, content blitzes, and targeted beta outreach.
Community seeding means infiltrating existing communities before yours spins up. Airbnb's early team scoured Craigslist, manually reposting property listings with calls to action linking back to Airbnb. They tapped into a hungry audience already searching for short-term rentals and redirected them into their nascent ecosystem.
Influencer alliances operate on social proof. Instead of hoping for organic discovery, you seed key creators or thought leaders with free accounts, beta invites, or special features. When they endorse your product, their followers swarm in. Think how Clubhouse leveraged tech luminaries in early 2020. If you were invited by a reputable founder, you reserved a spot in an exclusive network.
Content blitzes include blog posts, podcast interviews, webinars, anything that amplifies your voice across established channels. Drift, a conversational marketing platform, built traction by launching a series of high-profile CEO webinars, drawing from their target audience of sales and marketing leaders hungry for insider tactics.
Targeted beta outreach invites a select cohort to shape your product's evolution. Trello's first users were friends and colleagues of its creators, asked to test features and provide candid feedback. That VIP treatment fosters evangelism. Beta testers feel ownership, often sharing enthusiastically with friends.
Pillar 4, retention alchemy. Acquisition is sexy, but retention is the bedrock of sustainable growth. Without stickiness, your user base evaporates like morning dew.
Engagement hooks anchor users to your platform. Think Duolingo's daily street counter, a digital pat on the back that nudges you not to break the chain. Fitbod reminds you at pre-scheduled workout times, blending planning automation with motivational nudges. Dead simple retention loops use progressive rewards. Headspace unlocks new meditations and themed series only after completion of earlier modules. Masterclass teases upcoming lessons from renowned instructors, fueling anticipation and continued membership renewals.
Even social platforms rely on retention loops. LinkedIn surfaces notification updates when your contacts publish articles, comment on posts, or land new roles. That familiar ping draws you back in, keeping your network alive and conversation flowing.
And remember, retention strategies double as growth catalysts. Active daily users share more, fueling the acquisition loop and sealing the feedback spiral.
Pillar 5, rigid unit economics. A viral loop that hemorrhages cash is a glittery trap. You must calibrate your customer acquisition cost, CAC, against lifetime value to ensure profitability.
Let's unpack Zoom's ascension. They offered a freemium model, free accounts with 40-minute meeting caps and limited participants. The offering was good enough to hook teams, but power users, larger gatherings, extended durations, needed premium plans. Zoom's CAC was near zero. Users invited colleagues organically, embedding the product in corporate workflows. Their funnel was surgical, free users to power users to enterprise contracts. By optimizing upsell nudges in the right context, like calendar invites that flagged meeting limits, Zoom slashed friction and artfully boosted LTV without burning cash.
On the contrary, consider the cautionary tale of a consumer app that lavished sign-up bonuses on new users, pays $10 per download with no clear path to monetize. When venture capital waned, their high CAC sank the ship, leaving no sustainable revenue engine.
Let's dive into strategic partnerships, an underrated booster in the virality arsenal. Partner loops leapfrog audience building by tapping into established platforms.
Uber's early integration with Yelp let diners hail rides directly through the Yelp app. When you read glowing restaurant reviews, you could instantly summon a ride, an elegant cross-pollination that imbued Uber with Yelp's trust equity.
Strava synergy with Nike Plus shoes auto-uploaded run metrics to the social network, turning every jogger into a potential Strava evangelist. The integration felt native. Users barely noticed they were syncing across apps, but they invited friends to compare times, boosting Strava's growth by embedding it in fitness rituals.
The golden rule is to ensure the partnership feels intrinsically valuable to users rather than a tacked-on promotion. Deep product integration beats shallow co-marketing every time.
Nearly there. 2 final hacks: friction pruning and cultural velocity. Prune every ounce of user hassle. One-click invites, auto-filled messages, seamless tracking. Cut the clutter so each interaction hums smoothly.
Even micro-interactions matter. Airbnb's Instant Book eliminated host approval delays for select listings, skyrocketing conversion for those properties. A checkbox decision shaved days off the booking loop, amplifying acquisition and retention.
And iterate incessantly through A/B testing. When compounded through millions of impressions, a 5% lift in referral CTA color or wording translates into tens of thousands of extra users.
Cultural velocity means marrying data with gut instinct. Square's early shift from harassment-friendly reader hardware to a person-to-person payment app exemplifies a nimble culture. They listened to user feedback, saw the stronger opportunity in peer payments, and pivoted quickly, capturing market momentum well ahead of rivals.
Whew, let's recap our 6-step formula. 1. Architect a self-perpetuating growth loop with a K-factor greater than 1 and blistering cycle speed. 2. Forge a magnetic narrative that users adopt as their manifestos. 3. Ignite early traction with guerrilla tactics, community seeding, influencer blitzes, content campaigns, and VIP betas. 4. Embed retention hooks, streaks, reminders, progressive rewards to cement daily engagement. 5. Rigorously monitor CAC versus LTV to ensure loops fuel profit, not regret. 6. Leverage strategic integrations, frictionless flows, continuous A/B testing, and a culture ready to pivot.
Remember, going from 0 to 1 million is part method, part mad scientist experimentation, and part pure hustle. Your product DNA, your audience's soul, and the tempo of your tweaks define how rapidly you soar.
That's a wrap for today's FutureCast episode, From 0 to 1 Million, The Secret of Viral Startups. If you're hungry for more, subscribe on your podcast platform, share this with your network, and leave us a review. Do questions or wild growth stories? Drop us a line on Twitter @FutureCastPod or shoot an email to hello@futurecast.com.
Next week, we're unraveling Web3's cultural renaissance. What happens when digital ownership meets human creativity? Until then, dream big, experiment boldly, and keep engineering that rocket fuel.
I'm John Martinez.
And I'm Sarah Liu. Thanks for listening to FutureCast. Catch you on the launch pad.